Hello. My name is Michelle. This is my 22nd year teaching, and I want to share some tips on how to end your year as high as possible, meaning how can we decrease the stress, because we know that the end of the year can be super stressful because there's a lot of moving pieces that we do not have control over. So I want to share with you 4 things that can kind of help you end your year by decreasing the stress. First is grades. No new grades after the last 2 weeks of school. So once we have 2 weeks of school left, no new grades. So what does your class look like then? It looks like you have 2 groups of students. You have those who need remediation and those who can be enriched. And it's up to you what percentage you want to set that at. I'm a high school teacher, and so to pass, you have to have a 70. So for me, I set it at a 73. So if you have a 73 or higher, you get to do the enrichment. If you have a 72 or under, then you have to do remediation. And my logic behind that is the final is 10% of your grade. If you have a 73, the chances that you're going to bomb the final and that's going to knock you under a 70 are kind of slim. However, if you're at like a 72, 71, a 70, there's a possibility that if you do poorly on the final that you may drop under a 70. So that's why I do that. The other thing is we really do want to help the kids try to pass. Now, my personal goal, and I tell the kids at the beginning of every semester, my goal is that I want you to pass. I am not trying to teach children life lessons. So let me tell you what that means. That means that if there's a way that you could pass my class and it is the last day of class, I will check the papers and put the scores in and give you credit for that. Now, the reason why I say take the last 2 weeks to kind of pause and remediate is because there are several kids who they actually understood some of what we were trying to teach, but it was just the pace was too fast. If you all can hear that thumping, I think my neighbor's getting some work done, so I'm sorry. But yeah, sometimes, it's just the pace at which we do things. So if you kind of pause that last 2 weeks, you can work closely with those students to see, did they actually get what you were trying to teach them? Now, in fairness to the students who did get what you were trying to teach them at the pace that you normally teach, or they turn their things in on time, then the remediation group, you can only get the basic mastery as far as points go. So that means that no, you cannot get 90s and 100, even 80s. To be honest with you, I just keep it at like a 70 because at this point, I'm just trying to see, did you get what I was trying to teach you? And so I do not think it's fair that, maybe you've slacked off the entire semester and now you have an opportunity to go from a 65 to a 90 or something. I don't think that's fair. So I do keep the remediation grades right at a 70, maybe 75-ish at the highest, but really a 70. So first thing, cut the grades off after 2 weeks. And now you might be wondering, well, what are the other kids doing? They can do enrichment. In our case, our school system has like this online platform that has like hundreds of courses. So I just picked like 4 or 5 of them. And while I was remediating the one group, the other kids could pick which one they wanted to do. And they had a choice of like animation, 3D modeling, sign language, and sales and marketing. So it was kind of almost like a passion project. I know people used to use that term before. I don't know if people even still use that. All right, the second thing is communication. You have to call parents. And even as a high school teacher, now granted, I haven't been a high school teacher that long. This is only my 2nd year. If you've seen some of my other videos, then you know that I was in elementary school for 16 years and then middle school for 4. So I'm used to, calling parents, keeping in touch, letting parents know how their kids are doing. You got to call the parents. Now, when you call is up to you. Personally, I wouldn't reach out until the end of that first week. So, you have 2 weeks that you're shutting down the grades. At the end of that first week, after you've been working with students, doing remediation, putting in those remediation grades, then whoever is still under whatever in your district is considered failing, then I would reach out to those parents. Hopefully it's not going to be that many, but I would reach out and I would just let them know, you know what, right now your child is in danger of failing my course. They can definitely, turn in missing assignments. They will not be able to receive full credit for it, but they will be able to receive credit showing they've mastered the skill, which will be either a 70 or 75, whatever grade you want to use. But definitely reach out to the parents, because we do want to create a united front. Now, regardless of if in your heart of hearts you feel like, nope, I want to teach these kids a lesson, this is the way the real world is, this is not the video for you. But if you're the person who is like, you know what, I am trying to have the least amount of stress I can as I wrap up this school year. So I don't want to get into a battle with parents and administration about kids' grades. So let me save myself a headache later and try to help the kids pass my class. So let the parents know your students can access, wherever you keep your materials. I do slides all semester long, so kids can really just match it up with their grade book and see what they're missing. If they want to do stuff over that weekend, perfect. So reach out to the parents. Make sure you document. And I would say try to reach out in 2 ways. So if you can do some, like if you have Remind, send a message that way. If you have like some sort of email system your county uses, or just you want to email parents, do it that way. And then also phone call. So that way, you've at least tried 2 different ways. Next is declutter. If you've seen some other videos, I'm a minimalist. I love organizing. I love decluttering. This is the time of year to declutter. Now, if you're going to teach the same grade next year and be in the same room at the same school, this is perfect. And even if you're switching grades, moving classrooms, moving schools, it's still great. Declutter now. Do not save it for the beginning of next school year. Do not do it now, because the stuff is fresh in your head. And so what you need to do is you need to look through your stuff, especially the stuff that you have out. Like, we're not talking about stuff in file cabinets. We're talking about stuff that's like around the room. And think about, what did you use this year, this semester? If you used it, keep it. If you didn't, now personally, I would say throw it away. But if you want to give yourself another year to see, okay, am I going to use it? Then give yourself another year. And what you do is you can almost like divide. If you have a 4-drawer file cabinet, I only have a 2 one. But if you have a 4, you can use like the bottom shelf or drawer as like your maybe file. So you didn't get to the stuff this year, but you don't want to throw it away because you might use it. Put that all the way at the bottom. But start your top drawer with stuff you actually use this semester or this year, so that's what you can come back to. So that's my thing on decluttering. And really, to me, less is more. You can always find stuff on the internet. But really, just that decluttering step is really just get rid of stuff you did not use. Honestly, it'll just save you so much time when the school year starts back up. And then finally, the 4th thing is organize. My favorite. So now that you've decluttered, and when I say declutter, I'm thinking really space it out over this 2-week time frame. Okay, so kind of spend, maybe 10-15 minutes during a planning period or at the end of the day, just kind of going through different sections of your room. So when I say declutter, this does not mean like spend 4 hours in one day decluttering. I like to do little bits. I even set a timer for myself. So now that you've decluttered, now you want to organize and think about, how can you organize the stuff in your room? And this first step is not digital organization. This is actually paper organization. If you use paper. If you don't use paper, then you can totally apply it to digital. But I would say if you use paper, like really think about, okay, am I going to organize these extra papers by units? Or am I going to do it like alphabetically? Or am I going to do it by skill? Like, how will you do it? For me, I'm like a dinosaur when it comes to a teacher. So while I do have digital files, I do, of course, I have paper too. I kind of have a low-tech environment where we use a lot of paper. It just saves me time from feeling like I'm policing the kids when they're on the computer. I do let them use it, but I also just have this thing about, we use so much technology. I just want to give your brain a rest and just let you look at like some regular old paper pencil. So with that being said, I have colored folders. So I have like yellow folders, and that houses the novels we read that year and any materials I have left over from that. Then I have a green one because I teach World Lit, and so we do units. So I have a folder for Africa, I have one for Asia, I have one for Europe, I have one for the Americas, and I have one for, which one did I forget? Australia maybe? I think. Sorry. And then I have another one with skills, and I think my skill one, I'm trying to remember, but I think it's blue. So that might be characterization, plot elements, figurative language, argumentative writing, like things like that. So that way you can, that way, you know, you can kind of start, now that you've decluttered, you can put those things in the files and you'll have them ready for next school year, and they'll be nicely labeled and you won't kind of be like, where'd it go? And I also have a folder for like beginning of the year. I have a folder for end of the year. Because I'm a high school teacher now though, I really probably should rename it and do like beginning of the semester and end of the semester, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. So I hope you found this info helpful. Quick review: grades, make it easy, make it easy, make it easy. Don't be making new grades up until that last day of school. You'll drive yourself crazy. Cut them off after you have 2 weeks left. That way all you're doing is just adding, you know, just kind of doing grade recovery, credit recovery, giving kids a chance to, you know, fix materials that they were either missing, or they can revise assignments, things like that. Communication: call the parents. Call them. You can send them an email and stuff, but definitely call. I am so sorry, because I'm sure y'all can hear that. But definitely at least try to call. Then declutter. Think about, what did you use this year, this semester? And then last but not least, organize. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Okay, I decided to move. Of course, as soon as I move, the person stops the sawing or whatever they were doing. But anyway, with your decluttering, think about what you've used. If you haven't, let it go. Honestly, with the internet, you can find it again. And then last but not least, organize. And if you want to do by colors, by folder, you know, however you want to do it. And you can apply that same logic to digital. I personally don't declutter my digital files, to be honest with you, until the start of the next school year, because I feel like by then my brain has kind of relaxed and I can kind of think, how do I want to organize myself? So I really don't do my digital decluttering until like pre-planning, kind of that first week of school when we're back, because I just feel like I'm just so energized and refreshed, and you know, I have all these ideas of what I want to do. But you could totally do digital decluttering at the end of the semester or end of the school year as well. So I hope you found this information helpful. I have created a digital download for you to reference if you found it helpful and you want to print it out and kind of look at it later. This is really going to be the first in I think a series. I wanted to start with the end of the year, and then I feel like when we start back in the fall, I'll have another video about how to kickstart your year off on a high note, and just kind of focus on some of the tips and tricks and organizational things I use to kind of help my school year go, I guess, a little more smoothly. So as always, until later, be grateful. Bye-bye.